Hi everyone, this is Neil from neilcollins.de, and this video is about you and your job interviews or small talk situations or meetings and how you can talk about yourself. I'm going to deal with 3 typical mistakes you sometimes hear from non-native speakers, particularly from German speakers of English. So if you're a non-native speaker of English and particularly a German speaker of English, I hope this video will help you. And a typical question in a job interview would be, tell me about yourself, or tell me about your work experience. And in a small talk situation or a meeting, a typical question might be, how long have you worked in your present job, or how long have you worked here? And sometimes you hear an answer something like this, something like, I work by Google since 5 years. Now in this sentence there are 3 mistakes. There are 3 mistakes in the sentence. I work by Google since 5 years. So before I tell you the mistakes, maybe you can see them. I work by Google since 5 years. Okay, well, mistake number 1 is the tense. So if you talk about an action which started in the past and continues in the present and continues now, you use the present perfect. And the present perfect here would be I have worked, or the contraction for I have is I've worked. So this is the first mistake, I work. And as I said, an action which started in the past and continues in the present, then you use the present perfect. And this is I have worked, or I've worked. Okay, so moving on to mistake number 2, and that is with the preposition by. We don't work by a company, or we don't work by someone, we work for a company, or we work at a company. So this is the second mistake, by, because we say work for or work at a company. So in this case, work for Google or work at Google. And the third mistake in this sentence is since 5 years. So this part here, since 5 years. In English, if we talk about duration, so if we talk about 4 or 5 minutes, or 4 or 5 months, or 4 or 5 years, well, I just said it. If we talk about duration, we use the preposition for, not since. So we say 4, 5 minutes, or 4, 5 months, or 4 or 5 years. So for duration, 4, 4, 5 months, or 4 or 5 years. Grammatically, it's also possible to use since and the time phrase and then ago. So you can say since 5 months ago, or since 5 years ago. That's also possible to use since and ago. Since 5 months ago, or since 5 years ago. If we talk about a specific point in time, in English we use since. So we would say since yesterday, or since last year, or since 2008. So we're talking about a specific point in time, not the duration, but a specific point in time. So, since 2008, or since yesterday, okay, so if we go back to our original sentence here, the correct answer to a question like, tell me about your work experience, or how long have you worked here? If the answer is Google, then the correct answer is I've worked at Google or for Google for 5 years, or since 5 years ago. So it's I've worked for or at Google for 5 years, or since 5 years ago. Or we can also say since 2008. And just to show you what this information looks like on a timeline, if this is now and this is in the past, 4 or 5 years would be this. So this is the duration, 4, 5 years. Or here, if we want to talk about the point in time, since 2008. Okay, so I hope these small tips are helpful to you, and keep watching because I will be making more videos talking about the subject of job interviews and small talk and meetings, and talking about yourself in those situations and how you can avoid typical mistakes. So thanks a lot for watching the video.